Hey, what's going on, guys? EnteR ChazmaN here, and today I wanted to try something just a little bit different. With DC Fandome 2021 done and in the books, there was a particular trailer that really tickled my fancy, with me being a huge Batman fan and him being my favorite superhero. So I thought it would be really fun to kind of take you guys along with me and just kind of really go scene by scene with the trailer and really talk about what I'm really looking forward to and what is piquing my interest. Let's go ahead and get right on in. Let's take a peek at what's going on within Gotham City. Okay, we have the authorities. Clearly you can tell that is Paul Dano, who, if you don't know, Paul Dano is the actor who will be portraying the Riddler. Now again, I have already seen this trailer, so I know what's coming, but I figured it would just be kind of fun to kind of look and, I don't know, see what really is going on in here. So clearly the sign of the Riddler. Got the bat signal going on here with Commissioner Gordon, who Commissioner Gordon is portrayed by, Jeffrey Wright. I don't know Jeffrey Wright from a heck of a whole lot. The only thing I've really seen him in recently, of which he was really good in, was Westworld. But yeah, he was really good in that show, so I'm really curious to see how he can portray Commissioner Gordon. It's especially interesting with that because we're coming off of Gary Oldman. We're not coming off of Gary Oldman. I mean, that would have been, I can't remember the actor's name who played Commissioner Gordon in the Zack Snyderverse. The awesome, it's gonna kill me not to know his name. He's awesome. But yeah, we're more, I would say Gary Oldman is a more notable Commissioner Gordon considering. So I would say, yeah, it's going to be interesting coming off of Gary Oldman to Jeffrey Wright. I'm hoping he does a fantastic job with that. Cool. Yeah, so clearly we have Batman with a confrontation. Now there is no confirmation that these are Joker henchmen. I mean, clearly, as most people would think, I would like to think that these are Joker henchmen. I mean, it's very notable with the painting on the face. Although, for people who have played, I think in the Arkham games, some of Penguin's henchmen also had painted faces, so they could be Penguin henchmen as well. But I'd like to say they're Joker, but they could very well be Penguin henchmen, which would make sense seeing as how Penguin is in the movie. Now, right off the bat with Robert Pattinson, I didn't really like him at first, mainly because of the Twilight stuff. Granted, I never watched the Twilight stuff, so I had that natural dislike of Robert Pattinson just from knowing him from Twilight. But really recently, after seeing him in multiple movies, he's a really great actor, and I wasn't immediately turned off when I found out a couple years ago that he was going to be the Batman, simply because I had seen him in a couple of good movies and was like, okay, this guy definitely has chops and he's a legitimate good actor. I mean, if you haven't seen The Lighthouse, go freaking watch The Lighthouse. That movie was incredible. I think that was if I remember correctly, that was my favorite movie of 2019, I think is when that came out. But yeah, he was incredible in that. Let's go ahead and continue. Got Batman going on, beating up people. Now, something coming up that I really like is this section right here of Batman using what looks to be electricity to kind of really injure this guy. What this really reminds me of is in the Batman Arkham series, the video game series. I think in Arkham Origins, there's a part where you can fight a guy named the Electrocutioner, and you can kind of, once you beat him, you can kind of take his gloves from him and just kind of go around and beat people up with shocking gloves. So that's what's really cool about this, is clearly someone's either played those games or that's something from the comics, which I'm sure that's probably more pulled from the comics. Now, once again, I feel like I will preface, I'm not a huge comics guy. I'm more of a movie, video game person. I didn't really grow up with comics or anything. I would say I grew up more with manga than comics, so I don't really have a huge background in comics, but I definitely played a lot of games and watched a lot of movies, so This definitely reminds me of Arkham Origins Batman with the electrocutioner gloves. This guy's clearly dead. I don't think that's something you could quite survive. So there's Dano, most likely. And this is super cool to see Batman so freaking angry. I think this is going to be a really cool aspect of this young year 1, maybe year 2 Batman. It's just kind of seeing how unhinged he is. What have you done? I think what's even really cooler about this movie that I'm super intrigued by is the fact that this is a year 1 or year 2 Batman, and the fact that he may be a little bit more unhinged and just purely vengeful and angry. I think that dichotomy of maybe his first big villain or first big rival being the Riddler, it may be a really cool dichotomy of Batman being forced to go up against the total opposite of what he's looking for in a villain. You know what I mean? Like he's wanting to go up against people and just brawl with everyone, and maybe his first big arch nemesis being this guy who's more of a knowledgeful, smart person who doesn't use his fists. I think it's going to bring like a really cool dichotomy if that's what they're going for. If that's what they're going for, then that'll be really cool. Just kind of just seeing how Riddler can get at this angry guy who just wants to fight, but he can't use his fisticuffs on this guy because, you know. But yeah, like again, really cool story thread if that's what they're going for. So Riddler clearly has some sort of plan that goes there. Pattinson as Bruce Wayne. Really interesting look. I'm kind of surprised they didn't have him cut his hair, although not that it's super important. I mean, it is an interesting look for a Bruce Wayne. He does look a little too down, I noticed throughout this trailer. Hopefully, as Bruce Wayne, he's a little bit more... Although this could be another thing as to... this could be another aspect to his amateurishness in terms of playing the Bruce Wayne / Batman characters, because maybe he's just not as good at balancing that whole I'm Batman but I also have to put on the Bruce Wayne face and kind of hide my true self to the rest of the world. Maybe that's something he'll develop into. Maybe. I mean, like I said, hopefully he's not quite so dour and kind of down throughout the entire movie or series or franchise. I would kind of like to see, like I feel like Christian Bale in the Dark Knight series did a really good job of kind of putting on that face for the world, but we'll see. Hopefully Pattinson can pull that off. So let's see, we've got some Selena Kyle, Catwoman stuff, Zoe Kravitz. We've got Penguin. It's totally shocking that this is Colin Farrell. I mean, whatever prosthetics and makeup they put on him, man, it's... Because I think he's actually a pretty skinny guy, so they must have put like a lot... Either he put on weight or they put on a lot of stuff on him to really, really make that work, because it looks really awesome. Andy Serkis as Alfred. I haven't actually looked at this scene. So clearly he's maybe shadowing somebody somewhere in a restaurant or bar. I haven't looked at this one. So No More Lies, Coulson, The Sins of My Father, Savage. What does that say? Renwall is a lie. I'm not sure what that is. Mitchell. So I know Coulson is a specific... I think Coulson is a specific detective. I'm not sure who Mitchell is or Renwall is. That's really interesting. But clearly Batman is kind of... Oh no, there's the Riddler symbol, so maybe he's really doing some investigating, trying to figure out what's going on. That's a really cool aspect that they have going on here, because something previous Batman movies have kind of backed away from is Batman being more the investigator, the world's best crime fighter, world's best... investigator, I guess. I just said that, but yeah, that'd be kind of neat if they could kind of lean more into that than other movies. Definitely would be neat to see him kind of go back to the world's greatest detective moniker. Or maybe not fully go, but, you know, lean more into that would be nice. Alright, let's continue. What did he say? I talked over it. I can't hear him. I don't care what happens to me, okay. So Zoe Kravitz. I keep talking over it. Take it easy, sweetheart. That's pretty funny. Again, the prosthetics and makeup looks perfect. Like, he legitimately looks like a hefty guy. It's awesome what they did with Colin there. Okay. So let's see. Batman walking through. Not quite sure where is he at? So I think he's at a nightclub. Yep, definitely a nightclub. That's going to be an awesome scene. Got Selena Kyle being super cool. Batman, the ever watchful, kind of watching over the city. That's some of my favorite stuff. I don't know why Batman is always so cool when it comes to like just kind of hovering over a city and just kind of being ever watchful. I always freaking love that stuff. It's awesome. Like one of my favorite Batman anything, of course, is the animated series. And the whole scene with Batman standing on the rooftop of the building with the lightning in the background is awesome. Kevin Conroy's the best. So more Selena Kyle, flirtatious. Apparently, I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently behind the scenes, these two like actually had some sort of romance going on set, from what I've read. And I think the director actually got mad because they were doing things that most actors wouldn't be doing on sets and stuff, which I think is going to be really neat to see if that plays into how well they work together as actors. That'd be kind of cool to see how that goes. But yeah, really interesting. More Catwoman-y stuff. This looks super cool. It's kind of cool to see them going with some CGI, because coming off of the Dark Knight series, I don't remember them using a heck of a whole lot of CGI, so it is kind of cool to see them maybe not go all realism and real stuff. Like, maybe they can go with a certain amount of, you know, comic bookiness. It would be neat. Like, I don't want it to be like a total real world story or realistic like the Dark Knight always was. Would be kind of neat for them to lean into some more comic booky stuff. This whole scene with Batman kind of leaping down is super neat. So once again, we have a Darth Vader-like scene from Rogue One with Batman kind of getting attacked in this hallway. Now, most people have been kind of criticizing this scene mainly because it's, again, maybe it seems derivative from other movies. I think it's totally neat because it totally makes sense for the Batman character. It would totally make sense for Batman to hijack or to hack into lighting or something and to shut it off, so that gives him an advantage in terms of fighting and in battling. So once again, this makes total sense to me. Fighting in the dark makes total sense. We got the Batmobile. Super awesome. Look, super awesome how angry he is. Once again, I think what I hope they really lean into is how vengeful and angry and just I hope he's over the top in this, because it would make sense for Batman early in his tenure as the Dark Knight to be a little over the top, and then, you know, later on as things go on, he can kind of control his anger and kind of figure out, you know, how to be the best pure hero he can. But yeah, hopefully that's what they're leaning into. I don't want this series, I would like this series to not be just total, you know, Zack Snyder Batman, where he's just beating the crap out of it. Like, I do want him to kind of grow into a beacon of hope or a beacon of justice. Maybe not beacon of hope, that would be more Superman, but maybe become a more pure superhero. That's what my hope is. But yeah, it's still cool to see Batman so angry. So this scene is interesting. I haven't actually looked. Oh, so clearly there's Batman being surrounded by police officers on top of this tower. This clock tower. Oh no, stop. Okay. So he leaps off. That clearly is him flying down. This looks so awesome. Just him kind of looking like he has the worst. He's just had the worst day ever. Just fought 1,000,000 men or ladies, men or henchmen, people, I should say. But yeah, it looks great. He looks so. I don't want to say he's not tired, but man, it looks awesome. Okay, so there's a better look at Paul Dano as the Riddler, which I really like this whole maybe live streaming type thing. I mean, it's obviously it's very modern. Which, yeah, I guess now that I think about it, they have live streaming, so that would mean this movie is set in at least, maybe it's a very like a modern movie, because I know most Batman stuff takes place in the 70s, 80s, 60s, somewhere around there. So that is interesting. It's a current time movie. Oh my gosh, this is one of my favorite scenes in the whole trailer. Batman being so unhinged, so angry, and seeing Zoe Kravitz just kind of cower and kind of fear for this person's life that he's wailing on. It's so funny to see somebody who may be on his side kind of worrying for someone. I don't know. She's clearly like, no, stop, please. He's dead already. Just stop. It's fantastic. So we got more Commissioner Gordon, Jeffrey Wright, Batman. Oh yeah. I mean, the interesting thing is he's not from here. It doesn't look like he's necessarily ripped, which I don't know if that makes sense for him in terms of crime fighting. I mean, maybe a lesser big Batman would be more interesting, because maybe it means he's more agile and could fight off more people. I'm not sure, because obviously with Ben Affleck as Batman, he was just a gigantic monster, so it would make sense that that dude could take on like 20 guys. I'm not quite sure how realistic it is that this guy could take on 20 people, but maybe it's hopefully, again, more similar to the comics. Hopefully they play into his suit doing a lot of the work, which clearly they already have, because his suit has been taking gunfire, it's got electricity on it. Hopefully that is the kind of stuff that gives him his advantage over people, and not just Ben Affleck being a gigantic monster and just pummeling people, you know. Hopefully the gadgets and all, and maybe techniques and stuff, are kind of what gives him his advantage over people. But yeah, super interesting. And then now that I think about it, they also was a problem, I think, in production, where they wanted Robert Pattinson to bulk up and get much bigger and larger, and apparently he did not want to do that, which is kind of interesting. I'm not quite sure why he didn't. I'm guessing it has to do with other roles he has lined up, and maybe he had to look a certain way for those movies. That's all I can think about. I mean, good on him if he didn't want to. I mean, again, not a big deal, but hopefully they make up for that with explaining his gadgets are what gives him his advantages over people. So who is that? Is that Dano or is that Batman in there? I think that's Dano. Oh no, that looks like Pattinson. So I think that's Pattinson in jail or something. So Batman with this flare, what's he leading? I can't it's so interesting. Some of these shots are so beautiful. Like, look how cool it just looks awesome with Batman leading some sort of charge. It's hard to tell what it is. I mean, I'm going to assume those are officers following Batman into something. Little message left by Riddler. Super interesting right here. Batman flying away. Zoe Kravitz, awesome shot. More Andy Serkis as Alfred. Here we go is the part where This part's super cool. Oh, I got you, Colin Farrell. He looks so cool as Penguin. And then, oh no, you ain't got jack, son. I actually like this Batmobile. I like that it's a super simple Batmobile. I don't know. I'm really digging kind of what they have going on here. Basically just a souped up muscle car. I'm all for it. And I like how here you can kind of see Batman's cape just flying around outside the car. Like he hasn't planned for anything. He just lets his cape fly around there. So it takes down Penguin. What I'm hoping, because I'm hoping there's an explanation as to why, what's his name? Cobblepot. I'm really hoping there's an explanation as to why Cobblepot is called the Penguin within this series. What I'm hoping for here is that Cobblepot is already a big mafia boss, already a big time, gangster. And I'm hoping in this exchange with Batman that this car wreck seriously injures him somehow. Like maybe his legs are going to be wedged up here or something. So I'm hoping that after this exchange, Cobblepot is severely beaten up and is forced to kind of hobble around because of his injury for the rest of his life. And I'm hoping that's how he gains the moniker the Penguin, which would be really cool. Now granted, that's me kind of hoping for something, but we'll see. So this is another great final shot of the movie with Batman. Clearly they're going for a visual of upside down, which that's how bats hang. Did I say hang? I guess that double works. I meant hang as just like how they operate, but alright. But yeah, super cool shot, very Mad Max oriented. Batman just kind of walking towards him upside down. And there's the logo. There yous go. Oh man, here we come, March 4th, 2022. Well guys, that was trailer number 2 for The Batman, which is coming out in March. I'd love to hear back from you guys and know if you're excited for the movie, and what were your thoughts on the trailer? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it? As for me, I absolutely loved this trailer. I think this is by far leaps and bounds better than the first trailer. And at this point, I don't want them to release any other footage of the movie. Just let me stay blind until March 4th. I want to experience it full blast on that date. And that concludes all of my thoughts from DC's Fandome 2021 event. As always, I just want to say thank you so much for watching. I love you, please be safe, and I can't wait to see you guys on the next ChazmaN video. I hope you have a very vengeful rest of your day. Hey now, I see you made it through the video and liked or even possibly loved it. Well, if you want to see any more additional content or you'd like to get into contact with me, consider checking out some of my social medias right here. And if you'd like to go above and beyond and want to support my channel monetarily, here is also a couple places where you can do so. And if nothing else, simply liking, sharing, and subscribing would make me the happiest ChazmaN on the planet.